Now, due to last round, there were a lot of games that no one probably would have predicted to end up resulting the way that they did. And in the end, it calls for some fantastic games, some close games, some comebacks, and some very, very skilled performances from teams we probably wouldn't expect to have those kinds of performances. But now, in round 7 of the AFL, can those teams repeat such a great performance last week? Let's hope so, and let's see what I think in this match prediction for round 7. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be an AFL Round 7 match prediction where I go through all of the games that's happening in round 7, give my honest reaction to who I think is going to win, and obviously predict the team I'm going to win. And this will help with the AFL Round 7 match results and reaction video where I give my wins and losses on every single team in that video. So this is the start towards the end of round 7. There's going to be 2 videos. A lot of people don't really know that. They only know the match predictions, and that's fine. But if you guys are looking for the match reaction, they should be happening the day after the last game. And yeah, but without further ado, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, share the video, and share the playlist. Let me know in the comments if your team is one of the predictions that I make for round 7, and let me know where your team is on the ladder and who you think is going to win from any game necessary in this video. So let's get started with the very first game on the Thursday night of 16th of July. Collingwood versus Geelong, an absolute banger of a game, I believe. I believe this game is going to be very, very close, a lot closer than what people expect. But I'm going to go for Collingwood to win this game. The last time I went against Collingwood, it was basically an absolute thrashing. So I'm not going to go against them here against Geelong. But Geelong were absolutely sensational last week. So I expect this game to be extremely close, closer than anybody could probably imagine. Maybe even a few points of a difference. But I can't go against Collingwood at the moment, just because any time that I do, basically what I said before, they absolutely tear me to pieces. And yeah, I predicted Hawthorn to win last week, and I think they got the lowest score of the week. So yeah, it just shows that Collingwood are a class team when they're on form, and hopefully they're adapting to everything that's happening to them, and they can actually go and get some wins again. And that's, in the end, it's just a minor step back for Collingwood. I'm sure that's out of their priorities now. They're going to get into the real thing, which is winning games, getting as close to first as possible, if not first, and going for a premiership. I feel like that's their absolute goal, and nothing should stand in their way. Next up, and a game that I am very, very interested in here, the Essendon Bombers versus the Western Bulldogs. Now, if you actually look at the betting odds for this game, it's bang even. Ain't nobody the favourites for this game, but I can't understand why. If you look at last week, Essendon had a very good victory against North Melbourne, I believe, and that was their 4th victory. And Western Bulldogs got destroyed by Carlton. More or less, it was a fantastic game to watch. The 3rd or 4th quarter went waywards for the Bulldogs, but besides that, again, people who don't watch the game will say that they got thrashed and they didn't even have a chance. Where that's not the right opinion to have, to be honest. It was a fantastic game to watch, and Bulldogs did have a chance. But I don't know who to go. I'm going to pick Essendon here just because I feel the Western Bulldogs probably don't feel great getting smashed like that, and I don't know if they're going to recover as quickly as anybody would like. Now, obviously, I'd like Western Bulldogs to win this game, but in my heart, it's telling me that they're not going to win this game, so I'm not going to bet for them if I don't believe they're going to win. They also have a new debutant coming in as well. Again, I forget the name, I'm sorry, but that could be either a very, very positive thing or a very, very negative thing towards this time of the season with barely 10 games to go now. We're nearly halfway there. Yeah, look, it's a little bit of a tough situation for Western Bulldogs fans. It feels like there's a new player debuting every week. So it gives you something to watch, but it also gives you a relative nerve of what's going to happen in this game and how well will he do. And hopefully he does well, but I'm going to pick the Bombers here. Next up, another great game. 3 great games in a row, and I feel like all of these could be relatively close. The GWS Giants versus the Brisbane Lions. Now, it is at the Giants Stadium. So that's a big advantage for GWS, and that is the sole reason I'm picking GWS. The fact that Brisbane has to travel. Again, it seems like every travelling team struggles in this season. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because there's a lot more travelling than there usually is per every other AFL season. But as soon as the team travels, they seem to get demolished. So I don't really think Brisbane are going to break that streak. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Obviously, the streak's been broken before this year. Don't get me wrong. Anybody that goes to Sydney and beats them, that's breaking the streak. But GWS is a different type of animal, and they're already a great team. And they were a great team when they were traveling, and they're a great team now. They're a team that had a little bit of a stumbling block at the start, but they've kind of picked things up again. And Brisbane, I think Brisbane are a fantastic team. I really do. I'm starting to get an idea of what Brisbane's all about, and I really like their team, and I especially like the way they play. My goodness, I like the way that they play. But in the end, I think this is going to be a great game. I think this is going to be very, very close. But I do see the Giants picking this out, taking it home, and getting all the glory. And I think this is going to be extremely tight games. Just stay on the lookout for that. Next up, the Sydney Swans versus the Gold Coast Suns. Now, this is in the SCG. So, again, Gold Coast has to travel to Sydney for a very tough place to go. The SCG, a very tough place to go, and versus the Sydney Swans, who are an easy team to beat, more or less. But going to Sydney makes things a lot harder for Gold Coast. Now, in the end, I'm going to pick Gold Coast. How could I not pick Gold Coast? Sydney are in a dreadful form. They absolutely got their ass handed to them by Richmond, even though the scoreline didn't predict it. After rewatching it, you could tell Richmond were the better team. Heavy rain had a lot to do with it as well. But more or less, that game still sucked. I'm just going back on what I said on the last video. That game still sucked, but you could tell that Sydney are just not a great side, but they came close in the end. But I'm picking Gold Coast. I think Gold Coast will have more than enough to handle Sydney. In Sydney as well. Sydney, I don't think they've won a game in the SCG yet. So, yeah, look, it's a difficult situation for them. They have to go and verse quality team after quality team. I don't think they've versed a low-rated team since Adelaide, and they lost to Adelaide, I'm pretty sure. So, no, they beat Adelaide, sorry. So that's the only real thing that you could give on Sydney's favour. So, besides that, I have to pick Gold. How could I not pick Gold Coast, man? Like, again, this is similar to the Adelaide situation. What has Sydney done to make me believe that they can win another game this season? And until they prove it, they had a very good win over North as well, but they just haven't done enough. And I feel like Gold Coast will have enough. Next up, Richmond versus North Melbourne. These two teams are very inconsistent. I think Richmond, I don't know what's happened to Richmond. I'm assuming it's because all their players are injured. 8 players gone, 8 players in. Very, very tough circumstance for them. They have to rebuild the chemistry, rebuild the team. It's one thing playing it in training and things working out, but it's different during a game. You do all your practice for the game, and the game is what matters the most. Training works just as well, of course. You need to train to get things right, but if they don't go right in the game, then there's clearly something wrong there. And with 8 players, there's bound to be at least 1 or 2 players that just don't fit that system as well as they'd like. So in the end, I can see Richmond's perspective, and I can see them losing a few games here and there. Unfortunately for North Melbourne, I don't see this game being a game that Richmond lose, so I'm going to pick Richmond. If there's no heavy rain or any circumstances like that, I think Richmond can score more goals than 34 points. Like, 34 points was absolutely stunning and ridiculous. But in the end, it is what it is, and they still won that game. I'm sure the Richmond players are not bothered about how they win the game. So they need to score more goals. I think this has been a season thing for Richmond. They need to score more goals. They need to get more of their players involved. Jack Revolt needs to become alive again. And in the end, I think Richmond can comfortably win this game. North Melbourne, I just don't know what to expect from them, so I can't pick them because they're just so inconsistent. There's going to be one game where they absolutely put all the guns out blazing, have a fantastic performance and win the game. Then there's another one where they kind of sit back and let everything happen to them. And I said this in the last video. I think North Melbourne can be a great team in the future because the element that they do have is fighting spirit. They have the fight to go and beat any team in this competition. It's all about showing the fight on a consistent basis and adding to the fight with some quality. And then I think they could be a great team for the future. And unfortunately, they're just not picked for this round. Maybe next round. I don't know who you're versing. Maybe next round. Speaking of, Carlton versus Port Adelaide. This is at the Gabba, so both teams would have to travel. I'm assuming the Carlton are already in this bubble, but Port Adelaide just might not be. So this is going to be a game where it's clear and obvious what most people are going to think, but I genuinely think this game is going to be close. And the reason why I think this game is going to be close is that Carlton's quality, in terms of quality, is very, very good. I think they have great quality, but it's just about the consistencies within the games. And we saw last week, for the first time this entire season, Carlton playing all 4 quarters of the game. And now, can they do it against Port Adelaide? Can they do it against a team that is probably better than the Bulldogs, but projected a little bit less, maybe, to some people? I think, for me, this is a Port Adelaide victory. After beating GWS, I was kind of restored faith with Port Adelaide that they can beat good teams. And for me, I think Carlton is a good team on its day. And it's just all about when the day comes for Carlton. And if the day is this week, again, showing a little bit of consistency, then I think they'll do great. And Carlton have actually, you can't hide from Carlton's success. They've had great success this season. Correct me if I'm wrong, aren't they in the top 8? Like, if Carlton fans, let me know. There's a bunch of yous, most of my friends watch this video, and most of them are Carlton fans. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Carlton are in the top 8, right? So you can't hide from that. You can't say that they don't have a chance to win this game. You can't say that they have no success whatsoever. They've won a bunch of good games this season. And in the end, beating Bulldogs by 50 is a very, very big accomplishment for them. That not only did they beat a team in a close game, they also beat a team in a rather long, successful game, very entertaining game. But I am going to pick Port Adelaide because they've beaten quality teams, and that was the only thing that I feared that they couldn't do, and they showed that they could go out and do it. But this game is going to be close. If anybody thinks this game is going to be a thrashing, look, there is a possibility of that, but I feel for the majority, everyone believes this game is going to be rather close. The betting odds are not in Carlton's favour either, but again, that doesn't mean anything. And we'll move on from that. Port Adelaide will probably win that game. Next up, Hawthorn versus Melbourne. Now, this game has got me all messed up in the head because after a very good game from Melbourne where we saw slight changes, not a complete change of system, but enough to make me believe that we can be a decent team this season, versus Hawthorn, who are wildly inconsistent as well. A team that was dreadful last week, but the week before they were great. And I don't know exactly where I'm supposed to go from here. I don't know who to pick. I don't know which side I'm supposed to be on, because my heart is telling me that Melbourne needs to win this game, and they're going to win this game. But you have to believe that Hawthorn are a great team on its day. They have a lot of our players as well, a lot of our former players. But besides that, I don't know which way to swing here. And I don't know. The betting odds pick Hawthorn. But if I'm in a situation where I don't know who to pick, I'm going to pick the team that I like the most. And of course, you see the badge right here. I clearly love Melbourne more than Hawthorn. I have a bunch of family that go for Hawthorn as well. And in the end, look, I don't hate Hawthorn. I think Hawthorn on its day is a fantastic team to watch. I just hope Melbourne have a little bit more to take it over the edge. I think Melbourne's midfield has been, this is my opinion by the way, don't take this out of proportion. I think Melbourne's midfield has been one of the best midfields in the competition so far. And in the end, a lot of the time midfields do win your games. But our forward line is costing us at the moment, and that's why we don't win as many games as we should. Plus, our defense, once we turn the ball over, is shocking. It's woeful. But I'm going to pick Melbourne to win this game. If betting odds don't put us in that favour, but I just don't know how to go here because Hawthorn were so bad last week. And this week, they might just have a revival and go out and smash us, or they could just sit there like they did last week and just lose by a lot. I just don't know how I'm going to judge that game, so I need to be honest and pick the team that I like the most. That's a little bit biased in my decision, but in the end, all of my decisions have an element of bias. I can't go completely unbiased because there's some teams I just still don't know enough about. So I have to go based on last year. I have to go based on the previous games, even though that some of those games don't represent how good or bad a team is. That's the AFL. Not every game resembles how bad or good a team is. When Port Adelaide lost to Brisbane, it doesn't reflect how bad of a team that Port Adelaide is or how good of a team Brisbane is. Sometimes games just happen like that. You lose to teams you shouldn't be losing to. And yeah, in the end, I'm going to pick the Demons, and I hope they can back me up and get a successful victory, because then I would pick them a lot more if they could beat a team like the Hawks. Next up, Fremantle versus the West Coast Eagles, the Battle of Perth, and this is at the Optus Stadium. I personally love the Optus Stadium. I saw Man United. I know this is a little bit off topic. I saw Man United play there a few months ago at the very beginning. I'd say even close to a year ago. And I absolutely love the Optus Stadium. I thought it was fantastic. And if it's a choice of where to have that grand final, I think the Optus Stadium has to be up there if it can't be held in Melbourne. Melbourne first, but if it can't be held in Melbourne, which most likely it won't be, go and put it in Optus Stadium, man. Why not? It's a fantastic arena. And I'm picking West Coast to win. Fremantle had one of the greatest comebacks in AFL history. And they performed extremely well, and by far was one of the more entertaining games to watch in all of the AFL so far this season. And they definitely need recognition, and they definitely need some respect put on their name. But West Coast have come back to winning forms as of late, and they're going to be playing in Perth just like Fremantle. So they're both on even playing fields here, and let's see which team is better. West Coast more all round, Fremantle a little bit faster pace. Their forward line might be a little bit slacking these days. But in the end, West Coast for me has to be the winner here. They have to beat a team that they should beat. And again, if they don't beat Fremantle, then I'm going to go full aggressive on West Coast, because they need to beat teams they should be beating. This is the team they should be beating no matter where it is, and they have to beat them. If they don't, then in the match reaction, I'm coming for West Coast. They beat Adelaide. Now let's beat Fremantle. Those are the two worst teams in the competition so far, except for Sydney, and you've already beaten Sydney. So just beat Fremantle, and then we should all be happy. All of us should be happy except for Fremantle fans. Next up, and the final game of the episode of this round, St Kilda versus Adelaide. Now, I actually read an article that Adelaide could win their first game against St Kilda. And of course, I didn't read the article because I wasn't really interested in the concept of Adelaide winning against St Kilda. I think St Kilda is a decent team. Again, inconsistent. I think every team in this competition is inconsistent at the moment, but St Kilda especially are one of the inconsistent teams, and Adelaide have been consistently bad. But I'm not completely against this. But I'm picking St Kilda to win, but I'm not completely against Adelaide winning, because they're going to have to win sometime. The question is who they're going to beat. It could well and truly be a fantastic team that Adelaide beat, but it could also be a team that's well, they can't beat Fremantle or Sydney anymore, but maybe a Melbourne, maybe a team like North Melbourne, maybe one of those types of teams that are decent but are not showing their quality enough, or maybe are just as bad as Adelaide. But at the end of the day, their win has to come sometime. I don't think that they're going to go the entire season not winning a game. I'd be stunned. But maybe there are less games, so that can be a possibility. But eventually Adelaide do have to win a game. The question is, who are they going to beat? And I hope it's not Melbourne, because that'd be very embarrassing. But whoever it is, it's going to be an embarrassing time for them, I guess. It's similar to Gold Coast. Like Gold Coast, they never expected to win any game that they were favourites in for many, many years. They were never expected to win games, even against second last, even against teams that were injured or teams that just weren't performing. You'd never pick Gold Coast. You'd always think Gold Coast was the team that they'd bounce back from. They would annihilate Gold Coast to bring them confidence for a next game. It's a similar thing for Adelaide. You don't expect Adelaide to win any game this season, but they're going to have to win one. And the question is, who is it going to be? Anyway, those are the match predictions for, at least for me, that I think will happen in this round. Again, my English is poor, I'm sorry. This has been a rather mistake type of video, but in the end, all of the predictions you see in this video are the ones that I'm going with. I think this is going to be a rather good round. The first couple of days are fantastic football games. Great football games. Geelong and Collingwood, beautiful, man. And everything below it, man. I think this is going to be a very good round of AFL. And hopefully my predictions come true. Last week I had a woeful time with 4 and 5. That was my record. 4 predictions right, 5 of them wrong. So clearly I'm not the greatest at this, but 2 weeks before that and 3 weeks before that, I got 7 out of 9. So the AFL is becoming more and more unpredictable by the week, it looks like. And hopefully in time we can see me get everything right. That's what I want. That's the goal. And I'm not going to stop ever doing this series. I don't care how many years it takes till I get every single one right. And when I do, that's going to be an historic moment. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below. As I said before, did I predict your team to win? Where are your team on the ladder? Who's going to win any game that you pick? Any game you want to pick? If you think I've made a mistake, let me know. Any sort of injuries, anything like that. It's all about discussions here. Anyway, have a wonderful and safe day. Take care and peace.